Hello YouTube, this is Sniper Wolf 1001 here with another Robot Damashii review. So as you guys probably saw if you watched my Strike Freedom review, I got the Destiny Gundam, of course. And yeah, this video is just going to be a quick review of the Destiny and all of its parts. So hopefully this video doesn't drag on as long as the Strike Freedom video did. I didn't intend for it to be that long, but there wasn't much I could do about it. But anyways, let's look onto this box. So as you can see right here, we have the ZGMF X42S, and then right here we have this cool looking picture of the Destiny right there. I kinda wish that this figure had the glowing eyes, like it does in that picture, but what can you do? And down here we have the See Destiny logo. And then right here at the side of the box we have this cool picture of the Destiny just standing there looking really badass. And then onto the back of the box, as you can see, the back has a ton of pictures. So right here at the top left, we have the Destiny with his Voyager Lumiere activating, with his anti-ship sword in his hands. And then over to the top right, we have the Destiny wielding his Palm of Fioshina, his palm beam cannons. And then down here to the bottom left, we have the Destiny with his weapons mounted into his back, and then this one over here, he's wielding one of them, along with his beam rifle. And then this picture down here gives you a good picture of all of the accessories that come equipped with this figure, so let's go ahead and open this box up. Alright, so right out of that box, we have everything here. So as you can see, we have the Destiny Gundam right here, looking pretty nice. And then over here we have the Destiny's two main weapons. And then right here at the bottom we have the Destiny's beam rifle, along with a bunch of beam effect parts. As you can see here at the bottom we have one long beam effect part for his Erendite anti-ship sword. And then we have this part here which is supposed to be for his beam saber. And then along with that we have his beam boomerang effect part, a shorter one. And then we also have another piece here, which is a nice effect part to kind of give a kind of energy effect at the base of the weapon, which is nice. And then right here we have something for a stand. And then right here we also have an extra V-fin. So I guess it's just a replacement part. And then here we have a bunch of extra hands. We have two holding hands and another weapon. And then right here we have the Destiny's physical shield. And of course, right here we have the Destiny's beam shield generator, which comes right at the bottom of the box. And then, of course, down there we also have the Destiny's wings of light. So that's really nice since it comes included. It's not like the Strike Freedom where you have to go buy it elsewhere. So we'll go ahead and show that later on in the video. Alright, so with the figure out of the box, the figure is looking pretty nice right now. I'm liking the detail on it. There's some really nice colors, very solid looking. And unlike the Strike Freedom, I'm not noticing any color spots, like any colors in places that they shouldn't be. So far this figure is looking really good. There's some really neat details on it. So let's go ahead and, oh. Yeah, I forgot. There's also another thing I really liked about the Destiny is how it has those little bloody scars right by its eyes. It's really nice. It gives that kind of menacing look. So anyway, let's go on to some articulation. So we start with the feet. So we'll go ahead and tilt the foot down. And as you can see right here, the foot can go down right there. Of course, independent of the heel, and it goes pretty far down. It seems to be about the same distance that the Strike Freedoms can go. So now for an up tilt. As you can see, pretty basic. The foot goes up about that high. So that's not bad. And then, of course, the foot is mounted on a ball joint. So as you can see here, I'm just twisting the foot from side to side, up and down, whatnot. There's a side outward, and then inward. I think you can go about that far inward, and I think on the opposite side you can go a little bit further. Yeah, like that. So that looks a bit silly, but yeah, you have that free range of motion with the ball joint of the leg, so you can go pretty far out and kind of in any direction that you want. Just pretty neat. And then now for the legs, you just move this part up real quick. And then bending the leg upward, the Destiny can go a pretty decent ways up. It seems like it's kind of lower than the Strike Freedom's foot. As you can see here, the leg is kind of tilted downward. It doesn't quite go all the way up. Maybe I can push it a bit higher. Yeah, that seems to be as far as it can go. So that's kind of close to the Strike Freedom's leg. So that's a decent pose upward. And now for in and out. As you can see, the Destiny's pretty limited pulling the leg out. I think it's partly due to this little side skirt here. Yeah, it's kind of blocking the legs, so you can't go far up. Like the Strike Freedom, you got that nice 90-degree angle with the legs, but this one is pretty limited due to that part just blocking the legs. So you're not going to get too much posability with the legs here on this figure, which is really unfortunate. But anyways, let's go on to the chest. So we'll do an ab crunch down. And as you can see here, the chest can get pointed down quite far. I think that's about the same distance that the Strike Freedoms can go. So that's not bad. Some decent posability. And then for a backward bend, as you can see here, the Destiny doesn't really want to go back too far. It doesn't really move backward, unfortunately. That's pretty limited because, as you guys probably saw in my Strike Freedom video, the Strike Freedom can bend very, very far back, almost as far as his forward bend, so you're not going to get too much posability with the Destiny going backwards, so that's unfortunate. So now for side to side. Just tilt that thing all the way. So here, the Destiny's chest can go quite far out to the side. I think that's about as far as the Sananju can go. This is more of a tilt than the Strike Freedoms can go. So this is a nice sideways bend that you can get with the chest. And then now for the arms. As you can see, the arms go up about that high. I think that's a bit limited. I'm pretty sure that the Strike Freedoms can go up a little closer to the shoulder. Yeah, and right here at the Destiny kind of just holds it out right in front of his chest, so it's not too high of a bend. So now for in and out. And that's a really, really high angle we can get there with the arms. That's a more drastic angle that you can get in comparison to the Strike Freedom. So that's really nice. And then of course here with the shoulders can move in and out, or up and down, and you can also move them side to side. And then with the head, of course we have the head rotating on a ball joint, pretty basic. So you got that nice free range of motion there with the head. And then of course tilting the head upward. You can see he looks up about that high. And then tilting it downward, it can go down about that far with the head. So that's not too bad. And then onto the back of the Destiny. As you can see here, we have the Destiny's weapon pods for storing his two main weapons. And these weapon pods are really nice because you have a very, very nice range of motion with these things. Like, as you can see here, you can rotate the weapon pod all the way around in a full circle, which is nice. And then here you can also extend the weapon pod all the way outward. So that's really good. So that's some really good posability that you can get there with the weapon pods. So with the weapons stored back there, like, you can just have that nice range of motion, which is really good. And then, of course, here, right in between the weapon pods, we have the Destiny's thrusters with the flap right over it. And the flap can move... the thrusters can move in and out about that far. So that's nice. And we have some decent detailing of the thrusters down there as well. And then right on the back of the legs, we have some more thrusters with these large flaps out again. And the thrusters are alright. They're kind of a basic gray. There's not really too much to look at down there, but it's pretty nice. Alright, so now onto his weapons. Here we have the Destiny's Erendite anti-ship sword. And right away, I can just tell that this is the most impressive looking weapon in the Destiny's arsenal. As you can see here, this weapon is collapsible. You can just unfold it like that. And this weapon looks incredible. Like, not only does the base design of this thing look good, like the design concept from the anime, but Robot Damashii did a really good job recreating it as a figure piece. Like, as you can see here with the blade, we have this nice metallic-y silver on the blade here, and it just looks really, really sharp. It's really good. And then along the blade, we have this kind of grayish blue going all the way down. And then on the top, we have more of that metallic-y silver, and then we have that red little detailing there. And then onto the handle, as you can see, we have this little spike here on the end of the handle. And then, of course, we have the handguard. And then another detail about the anti-ship sword is that the hilt, as you can see, the hilt is kind of folded in, but you can actually pull these parts out. Just pull these parts out, just like this. And you pull the other side out. And here we have the anti-ship sword just completely opened and uncollapsed. So you have the hilt nice and extended, and yeah, this weapon looks really cool. And of course it wouldn't be complete without its beam effect part either. So here we take a quick look at the beam effect part. As you can see here, it's nice and long, and it just looks really good with the colors. It has a kind of reddish pink, and it's a lot more bright than the Strike Freedom's beam effect parts are, which is pretty nice detail. It's very noticeable. And as you can see there's that nub on the end of the blade, and then you can put it inside there. And then, yeah, we have the beam effect part mounted just underneath the Erendite anti-ship sword. And right away, this piece just looks incredible. Really nice with that beam effect part down here. So Robot Damashii did a really good job recreating this weapon. It looks really, really good. So now on to his other main weapon, we have the Destiny's long-range high-energy beam cannon. And of course, just like the anti-ship sword, this weapon is collapsible, as you can tell. And yeah, you just pull this part right out. It's completely unfolded, just like that. And we also have the handle here mounted on the side of the weapon, so you can just pull this thing out. And of course, you can slide the handle downward, like in and out, in that little indented spot it's in. And yeah, the colors on this beam can look really good. Like, I'm really liking the solid green, this kind of matte green that it has, and it has a really nice metallic-y silver on the barrel. And right here we have these reds. So yeah, the long-range beam cannon looks really nice. We have that gunmetal gray on the handle. So yeah, this weapon looks really good. And then here we have the Destiny's physical shield. And yeah, the physical shield's looking pretty basic. The colors are nice. We have that metallic-y silver on the back. And then one detail about the physical shield is that you can actually pull the bottom part of the shield off. If I can get this piece off. There we go. Alright, so yeah, you can just remove the bottom piece off of the shield, and as you can see, we have two mounting points here. So you can kind of mount the bottom part in various places on the shield. And that's important because you can just mount it here at the bottom, and then you can have the shield looking nice and extended, just like this. So that's really good. And then here we of course have the Destiny's beam shield generator. And yeah, just like the Strike Freedoms, it looks really nice and detailed, although this one has a more aggressive design. Like, there are a lot of these sharp edges on it. And of course, just like the Strike Freedom, you just remove the yellow parts off of the hands to place this part in. And then here we take a quick look at the Destiny's beam rifle. As you can see, it looks really nice with those solid greens. And then, just like the Sinanju, the Destiny's scope can move in and out from side to side, just like that, which is pretty nice. And of course, you can fold the scope all the way down to the side, just like this. So that's pretty good. And then also, another point of movement on the beam rifle is that the secondary handle right here, you can also move this in and out. So that's a really nice detail there. You can kind of have the Destiny holding the beam rifle with both of his hands. So I really like that. This beam rifle looks really cool. And then another feature about the beam rifle here is that if I spin this figure around real quick, you'll notice that on this side of the beam rifle, there's this little tiny indent on the side here, like right there, if you guys can see that. And right on the back of the figure, we have a little we have a little indented spot there where we can mount the piece on. And yeah, right here we just have the beam rifle mounted right onto the back of the Destiny, so you can just place it there when the Destiny's not using it, so that's really neat. And of course, if you have the Destiny's main weapons mounted into the weapon pods, you can just move these pods out of the way of the weapon. So that's a really nice detail there. And then of course, another weapon of the Destiny, we have the Destiny's Flash Edge 2s, his beam boomerangs that also double as his beam sabers, just mounted into his shoulders here. So you can just pull these pieces out really easily like that. It's really nice detail there. And then we just go ahead and mount his effect parts in. You can see we take the beam boomerang part out. It mounts in pretty easily. And yeah, here we have the beam boomerang. And again, just like the anti-ship swords effect part, this one is just a nice bright reddish color, a lot more vibrant than the Strike Freedoms. And it has those really sharp edges there too, right at the bottom. It makes this thing look really cool. And then of course, with the secondary effect part, you can just mount this part in if you so wish. So you can kind of add that extra effect to the beam boomerang. So you just mount that part in right there. You see that we have that energy kind of displaced at the bottom of the handle. Or at the top of the handle, rather. And then we just mount the beam boomerang effect part in. And yeah, just like this, you can kind of have that surge of energy right at the power source, which is really nice. It really adds that extra effect to the blade there, which, yeah, it's really cool that Robot Damashii went out of their way to include that part there. That's a really nice detail. And then, of course, you can also mount the beam saber effect part into this piece as well. This is what the Flash Edge in the anime is capable of doing. It doubles as a beam saber and a beam boomerang. You can just alter the effect parts like that. And yeah, the effect part for the beam saber looks really nice. You have that really thin part at the end of the tip. And then right here at the back of the effect part, we have these really sharp edges right at the beginning, kind of where the energy is being displaced. So with the effect part in, as you can see, we have a nice long beam saber right here. So that's really good. And it definitely looks a lot better with that effect part in, right at the base. So this is really nicely detailed. I'm liking the looks of this beam saber right now. So that's cool. Alright, and here we take a quick look at the Destiny's hands. As you can see, we have a pretty basic holding hand for his beam rifle. And then here we have another set of holding hands. I believe this part is supposed to be for his anti-ship sword, but you can mount both hands into either weapon. But yeah, here we have the thumb extended here for the handle. And then here we have another one of the Destiny's weapons. And yeah, of course this is his Palma Fioshina, his palm beam cannons. And as you can see, we have this nice bright blue detailing right there at the bottom to kind of indicate that there's an energy charge right in the center of his hands. So this is a really nicely detailed piece. And then here we take a quick look at the Destiny's wings. So yeah, just like the figure, the wings are very nicely detailed. Like, the colors are very solid, this nice solid red along with the blacks here. So the colors on the wings look really nice. And of course, we can just open these wings up and extend it like that. And then we expose these little smaller wings right in the center. And of course, these wings have their little individual thrusters right in between them there, as you can see. And then right here in the top wing, we have some more thrusters hidden right underneath the wing there. So that's a really nice detail. And yeah, you can just move these smaller wings up and down wherever you want. And then you can just fold this piece back in. And one thing that's really nice is how it has a little hole there, so the wings kind of stick out when the wings are close together. So that's a really nice detail I like about the Destiny. Alright, so here we have all of the pieces mounted into the Destiny. We have the wings in, and we have his main weapons mounted into his weapon pods. So as you can see, this figure looks pretty nice here. Just have the anti-ship sword mounted in there. And again, we have that nice range of motion. And then here to actually display one of his weapons in use while they're attached to his pods, you can just move the pod outward and then extend the beam cannon out just like that, right underneath the Destiny's arms. And then of course you can pull the handle out. And if you wanted to, you could just slide the handle in and out to kind of add that extra length if you don't want the Destiny's arms too far back like they are here. And yeah, I don't have his holding hands in right now, but as you can see, you can just have it being suspended by his weapon pods right there at the back. And then yeah, you can just have his hands holding the handle right there. And yeah, this is really nicely detailed weapon here. You can just have him aiming the beam cannon in whatever direction here. So that's really nice mechanics there for the weapon. And of course, when you don't want that deployed, you can just fold it back up. Just like this, just collapse the beam cannon right back into itself, and then just rotate it right back onto his back. So that's a very nice detail. That's something I'm really loving about this figure right here. Just the weapon pods and his main weapons, how they work and everything. Alright, so here we take a quick look onto the Destiny's wing effect parts. And yeah, just like I said with the Strike Freedom, you definitely want to get the Strike Freedom's wing effect parts if you have the Destiny in your collection, because the Destiny of course comes with its wing effect parts. So it's kind of an important piece, because these two figures go pretty nicely together. So as you can see here, just like the Strike Freedoms, the Destiny's wing effect parts are very nicely detailed. Right here you can see we have this nice bright red here, kind of like where the energy starts. And then as the energy starts extending outward, it just gets more clearer and clearer. The color gets more bright. And we have those nice little displayed jagged edges there too for the wings. So this piece looks really good. So let's go ahead and mount this onto the wings. And then now we have the wing effect part mounted right onto the wings of the figure. And these wings actually go in a lot easier than the Strike Freedoms does. You just have to fit them in between the little smaller wings there, and they just kind of clip into the bigger wings. And these wings are very bright too. Like as you can see here, we have this nice glowing effect. Like as soon as light touches these wings, they just kind of glow, which is something I really love about these wings. They look really, really good. So here we have the Destiny with his, he's up on his stand with his Voyager Lumiere activated, and as you can see here, he's holding his Erendite anti-ship sword. And yeah, this is a big figure. As you can see, the anti-ship sword is really long, and these wings of light make this figure a lot larger too. Of course, it's not as big as the Strike Freedoms, but still, it still makes this figure look pretty big, and it looks really, really good. And of course here, looking onto the hands again, the hands hold in the anti-ship sword really nicely. Like as you can see, they're really tight, and you can of course effectively double hand the weapon really nicely too. Unlike the Strike Freedoms, where the Strike Freedom's hands are just they aren't really good holding hands for his weapons. And this is really important too, because you're definitely going to want to have this as one of the Destiny's poses, with Shinn Asuka kind of getting ready to charge his enemies with that giant sword. Alright, so again, with the hands and their ability to hold the weapons quite well, as you can see here, we have the Destiny wielding both his anti-ship sword and his long-range beam cannon in both of his hands. And yeah, he does quite a good job at holding the hands. As you can see, he's holding the anti-ship sword with one hand pretty effortlessly. And yeah, these weapons just look really good. This is something I'm really liking about the Destiny figures, that his weapons just look incredible, and the size is really good too. So here we have the Destiny wielding his Flash Edge 2. As you can see, the hands hold him in really nicely, and yeah, the Destiny just has his arm coiled back in a nice ready position. And then of course here, if you remove the other shoulder part, you can just have the Destiny wielding both his beam boomerang and his beam saber. And again, the hands do a nice job of holding both of them. And then right here, of course, we have the Destiny wielding his beam rifle with his beam shield generator. Pretty basic. It looks really nice, and of course, the hands, they do a good job of holding his weapons. So that's really good. And then here we have the Destiny wielding his Palm of Fioshina. And again, I kind of wish that this figure came with an effect part that for the palm of the hand to kind of have a bit of a brighter energy charge effect in the center of his palm, because they do have that nice bright blue effect in the center of the palm, but it would have been nice if you had like a bit of a brighter effect there, something that was more I don't know, something that was more bigger, more profound. But yeah, regardless, this piece still looks pretty good though by itself. Alright, so here we have the two Seed Destiny Gundams posed up side by side with their Voyager Lumières activated. And yeah, as you can see, these figures just look really incredible. Definitely, if you have both the Strike Freedom and the Destiny in your collection with these parts in, they just go really well together. Like these wing effect parts, like the blue and reds, they just look really beautiful. And you can just have these figures posed up together in a constant battle with each other. So as you can see here, we have the Strike Freedom and the Destiny kind of just posed in a battle scene here with both of their blades out, getting ready to strike each other. So this is really nice. Alright, so that pretty much takes care of the entire figure as well as everything that it comes with. So now for my last impressions about this Gundam. Now, I personally think that Robot Damashii did a pretty damn good job modeling this thing. There were hardly any flaws that I found with this figure. If there were any flaws, it would have to be down to posability. Like, for example, there were some spots like the legs. The legs had some limited in and out movement, mainly due to the side skirts kind of blocking the movement of the legs. And then also the chest. You couldn't really move the chest backwards at all, like it was kind of just locked in position there. So there were some limitations in certain spots of the Gundam. But apart from that, everything else was pretty much spot on. Like, its weapons looked incredible. Like, all of the colors, the details, the sizes, and the proportions of the weapons looked really, really good. On top of that, the Wings of Light looked really good too. And the Wings of Light and the stand, of course, come included with this figure, unlike the Strike Freedom, where you had to go buy the Wings of Light and the stand somewhere else. So that was really good. And another thing that I really liked about this figure were the colors. Like, all the colors on the weapon and the figure itself, as well as the Wings of Light, looked absolutely amazing. Like, they all looked accurate, there weren't any color spots in areas that they weren't supposed to be in. Like, all of the colors just looked solid and perfect. And another thing that I really liked about this figure was accuracy and the mechanics behind a lot of the things on this figure. For example, I liked how you could just pull the beam boomerangs out of the shoulders just like he does in the anime. And I also liked how the backpack worked, the area that stored his main weapons, like how you have that full range of motion, how you can rotate them, you can like rotate the beam cannon underneath his arms. So that was something I really loved. Like, it was very accurate to the anime, and it's just a very neat detail. So definitely, If you guys are looking for a Destiny Gundam, I definitely think that this is a very safe purchase. If you guys like the quality of the Robot Damashii stuff, this is definitely a safe purchase. So definitely you guys should check this thing out. And I'm really liking this figure, and I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So right here at the end, there's going to be a quick Gundam Extreme versus comparison with my figure. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and see you guys later.